Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Well, we've been talking about has Bitcoin hit a bottom or not yet, and been looking at a little bit of TA, but not just TA, because TA wise, it does seem like we are gaining a little bit each day now, maybe re-upping on the 43K and even 48K eventually area. But it does actually seem that there's other reasons besides TA, and one of the reasons is like as you say here on the column, that the Bitcoin price drops to 43.7K after Fed minutes reconfirmed plans to hike interest rates. That was a couple of weeks ago. But now it's actually risen to almost 43.7K again now, because yes, they did confirm that they're going to raise interest rates, but Jerome Powell specifically said that interest rates are likely to stay in the very, very low area for years. Now, if you actually read the Fed minutes when they originally came out on the 5th, there was no reason to actually drop to the current price right now. And that's why this death cross probably doesn't matter all that much. And we could actually go up to the pre-drop status of 48K so very quickly, because he actually said for several years we will stay in the very low interest rate area. That does not mean zero interest rates, which is what we're actually used to, but probably under 3 or 4%. In fact, I've talked about this the last couple of days. Interest rates are plotted to actually rise from 0 to about 2.5% by mid-2025. Mid-2025 is still a fairly long ways away, being that we're only in 2022. So less than 1% interest raise per year should not get people nervous. And I think since Jerome Powell actually came out and said that, they finally got their crap together. I don't really understand why they didn't just look at the report and deduce that themselves, because 2.5% interest rate is still a very, very low historic interest rate. I mean, I think this historic average is actually like 4 or 5, and it's been above 10 for multiple years before, especially if you look in the 70s and 80s. And that did well to curb inflation, and this is why we actually have inflation right now, because the interest rate has been 2 or below for the last decade. At least the last decade, if not lower. It might have slightly increased more than that under like late Obama term, but it went right back under after COVID hit, and it's going to stay for at least another 3 or 4 years. So people realized, hey guys, we have like 3 or 4 years to actually have this rise to 2.5, and 2.5 is still going to be very, very good loaning rates. It will curb inflation a little bit, but it's going to be still very, very good loaning rates, because 2.5% is still nothing when it comes to interest. And it really shouldn't affect crypto, because pretty much every type of crypto staking, and especially yield farming, is way above 2.5. Even the base even like a lot of the staking, like plain staking, like for Cardano and Ethereum, is still at 5%, which is still way above 2.5%, obviously. And the other thing is like the yield farming, generally in the double digits, even in the high double digits. So, like they're realizing, hey, people are still going to yield farm, they're still going to stake, because interest rates are going to stay low, and the people who want to borrow money for business are still going to be able to borrow money for business, because no one's going to look at 2.5% and say, oh no, we can't afford that. I think some of the housing, like maybe borrowing to buy extra houses, might go down a little bit, but I still think people would actually buy houses on the lower interest rate of around 1 to 2%. It is a lot lower than when my parents bought their first house, in the early 90s, and the second house in the 2000s. The low interest rate basically helped the home buying, and now there's like a lack of houses. But now raising the interest rate to above 0 should actually help that, but it should not really tank the market. It should have never really tanked the market that much. So Jerome Powell actually coming on today and saying that the interest rates would be risen slowly and only to a maximum where it's still in the very, very low interest rate area, I think pacified and basically solidified some hope for some people that it won't raise that much higher, because they obviously didn't read the Fed report that said the plan was to raise to 2.5% by 2025, because people don't actually like reading and researching these things. They just want to react to like statements that are very emotional, like a hike in interest rates, like 3 hikes in interest rates. But if those hikes are only 25 basis points each, it doesn't really matter all that much because 3 hikes equals 0.75% interest in a year. And that's still very, very, very low. So we might have another reason for the bottom besides just technical analysis. And that reason is that Powell has actually confirmed that even though interest rates are rising, they are not rising above very low rates. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.